the floor is yours, my friend. Take it away.
Yep. Thank you for introduction. So today I will talk you about the Community Figma MCP Server. My name is Anton Tishchenko and I'm CTO of EXDST. EXDST is a software development company and we majorly do web development. So if you need any help, any extra hands, feel free to contact us. The Figma MCP server that I will present today is kind of a side product that we decided to make open source and to share with everyone. So we do web development. We work with different technologies. We work with Next.js, React, Astro, Next, Vue, and others. And we use different content management systems: Contentful, Strapi, Optimizely, Sanity, Sitecore, etc. And part of these content management systems are niche products. And AI and large language models are not quite good with them. That's why Model Context Protocol became a huge breakthrough for us. We became able to use AI on our projects on completely different level. Here is our common use case. In this sample, we use Sitecore. So we took designs from Figma and implement them using Cloud Code. And also here we use two additional MCP servers. It's Chrome Dev MCP server and our custom Sitecore MCP server. These servers allows us to build a feedback loop to achieve great results. But time to time, it's required to change something in our designs. And unfortunately for us, we can't do it because Figma official MCP server is not capable to change anything inside Figma design. It has multiple of tools to get data from Figma, and all of them works fine and help us, but there is no tool to change something in Figma. That's why we decided, why don't create it? So let's check what Figma API is available. Figma has different APIs, and the ideal case for us would be usage of REST API. What could be easier than just wrap REST API with tools and provide MCP server? But unfortunately for us, REST API is read-only in Figma, and that's not what we need. And the only one API that allows us to change Figma documents, it's plugin API. But unfortunately, it has also its own limitations. Plugin is executed in sandbox and it can't act as a server. And actually, we need it to be a server to use Model Context Protocol. So it will not be so easy, but it's still possible. So here is a basic architecture of what we implemented. We introduced a WebSocket server, and it acts as a medium between MCP server and Figma plugin. And it allows us to pass messages from MCP server to plugin. And then plugin is able to execute all required actions in Figma document and provide back the result to MCP server. And MCP server is able to provide result back to AI agent. Actually, before the implementation, we reviewed whether there are some similar Figma MCP servers, and there was one quite similar, but unfortunately the code there wasn't so great. It was JavaScript, not TypeScript, no typings, and 50 tools in one file. So it would be hard to develop and easy to break. That's why we decided to implement our own ones. It's actually easier to explain architecture on sequence diagram. So we have our AI agent that sent tool request to MCP server, and we have queue in order to save all our tool calls and use them later. And once we save tool request, we are able to send message to WebSocket server. And Figma plugin is listening to WebSocket server. And once there is message on WebSocket server from MCP server, Figma plugin reads it and executes all required actions in Figma. It can be one action, or it can be multiple actions, or it can be even some cycle. And once everything is done, it returns back context from Figma to WebSocket server. MCP server, from the other hand, is also listening to WebSocket server, and once there is message from Figma plugin, it reads it, get unfinished promise from the queue, and returns back execution result to AI agent. Or if something wasn't finished during some period of time, it's able to get tool request from the queue and return timeout to AI agent. Now, let's see it in demo. So for demo, I have my Figma. It's an empty document. I don't have anything there. I need to start my plugin. It's here in development, Figma MCP Server. You can see message that it's already connected to MCP Server. That's because I started MCP Server in advance, and you can see here that we can see Figma in connected clients. And I will run demo in other cursor window, which just have two files, CloudMD and PromptMD. Here let me make it bigger. Here I enable just one, our Figma MCP server. It has 23 tools to edit Figma document, and I will use prompt that I prepared in advance. And as large language model for this demo, I will use Opus 4.5. The prompt is actually quite similar for this demo. I ask agent to create input text component, input password component, primary button, and secondary button. And I ask to use all components that were created to create login form that should contain email, password, and two buttons, login and cancel. As you can see, it already started to work, and it prepared plan to create 4 components and then create form itself. And it already did some work, so we can switch to Figma and check what's going on. So we can see that the input text component is already here, and I guess it's working on second component, which is password component. And you can see that it started to create the component under the input text component. And that's because in Figma, I have memory, I have rules in CloudMD file. So for this demo, I wrote that components page should be used for components, and that AI agent shouldn't put everything on the same coordinates. Everything should be located on different coordinates. And other rules are to use after layout and use component properties. The good practice here is to start from empty CloudMD file and see how it acts. And once you are not happy with something, for example, I wasn't happy that everything was overlapped, just add rule for it, and then AI agent will do what you actually want. And in this case, your prompts will be simple. So let's back to Figma and check what's going on here. And we can see that another one component was created, that's secondary button. And I think it should start to work on the form itself just in seconds. So, yep, it wrote that all components are created, and now it's able to get all components, and it starts to work on the form itself. So we can back to Figma and check our form on page 1. We can see it created title. By the way, title also could be a component, but for this demo, that's just fine to make it as text. In real design, it might be component. We can see that it created 2 component instances, email and password, and put them inside the form. And also here we have frame for buttons, and now it should create 2 buttons and add them into this frame. And we will check whether we are happy with result. I think it finished. Yeah, it wrote that all 5 steps completed, and we can review the work. So let's imagine that I'm not happy with buttons locations. I want to align button to the left and login button to be the first. So I can do it either manually, or I can ask Opus to make it for me. So login button should be first. Align buttons to the left. And it should do all required changes. Set layout, set parent ID. Get node ID. Yep. Now we have buttons located as we expected. And design that we created here, it's quite simple because we had quite simple prompt, but that's good starting point because we have everything according to best practices we use after layout. So you can see that I'm changing the size of form, and input sizes are also changing. We have spacing, we have frames. So that's good starting point for you to design your form. And also everything is components based. So here we have components, and in our design we just add the component instances, and we can type component properties as we want. And also important thing here is that everything is executed in context of Figma design document. So we can undo and we can redo all things. So if I'm not happy with something, I can just press Ctrl Z and undo changes. Or if I need to revert them back, I press Ctrl Y and I can revert everything back. That's all about demo. Let me switch back to the presentation and make some conclusions. So now it's possible to allow your AI agent to design on your behalf in Figma, and you can use your favorite large language model to do it. It can be useful for designers, and it can be useful for developers which are not quite good in design, for example, me. You can scaffold something, you can use it for quick prototyping, you can use it for migration of existing projects into Figma. So there could be many use cases. The whole project is open source, and everything is hosted on GitHub, so feel free to fork it, feel free to change it for your needs, and contributions are welcome. Unfortunately, Figma didn't accept this plugin to be added to the official Figma plugin registry. So if anyone from Figma is watching this presentation, please do it. It will make designers' work even more simple, and they will be able to use more AI capabilities inside Figma. But even if plugin would not be added to the registry, you still can use it. It will just require one more additional step. And additional point here is that you can implement model context protocol servers for things that you can't control. So in our case, we implemented it for Figma, and we used WebSocket server as a medium to transfer messages between MCP server and between third-party tool, which in our case is Figma. And the last slide is with links. You can scan this QR code, and this QR code contains 3 links. First link to GitHub, to the project itself. Another link is to article that describes how to configure and how to use this MCP server. And another one is for product hunt. By the way, we won product of the day on product hunt at the 2nd of January. So you can support us, and probably we will be able to get the product of the month here.
Awesome, man. Well, congratulations, Anton.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I had a question. Are you seeing with people using this like people who are already proficient with Figma, like that's what they do day to day or whatever, like, do they find this useful? Or is it like mostly like, oh, I don't understand Figma, and then, this tool is useful for you?
So we just launched it, and we just starting to get feedback on this MCP server. We expect that designers will be able, and designers will be the audience who use this product. The sample cases where I see that they will use Figma has their product, their AI product Figma Make. It's similar to V0 or similar to Lovable, where you can create some design, but once you created it, you can't change it. And that's the problem. And we solve this problem with this, our model context protocol server. Or if Figma will add the same functionality by themselves, we also are happy with it.
Yeah. So I was wondering, because I've seen this where so it's like, oh, like I see you do this, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll try out Figma, because I can't do design and I don't know Figma, but maybe I can prompt it. But I've tried other things with that, where it's like, oh, let me use AI to do this thing I don't understand, and I'm not super successful. Like I get something like initially, but then it's like, oh no, I really don't know what I'm doing. That I'm really curious to see how this thing works out for you, because I would guess that for people who do know Figma and are already it, that using AI to assist them is just going to make them faster and more, because there's just things where it's like, yeah, I could click, do that, but it's kind of easier for me to just type one line and let it do it. It's like the same thing I see with programming, where it's like, I can define an interface, and I can just tell Claude, like, oh, well, implement that interface, like, because I know exactly what I'm doing. I could have written the code, but it can write the code faster than me. So I'm kind of curious to see where, like, it gives me a certain optimism, where it's like AI is like, it's not like, oh, we're going to get rid of all designers now because AI can do it. It's like, no. This just makes designers better. Not, it just accelerates them. It doesn't, make someone who doesn't know it.
Yeah. So we work in web development area, and for us, Figma still is a source of truth. So clients still want something that looks exactly like in their design. And that's why this tool is for designers, to make them more efficient to implement client wishes in Figma.
I mean, yeah, but like, the thing that this allows is it allows someone who has not spent a lot of time with Figma but understands design to probably work with it pretty quickly. Like, I would imagine that this would lower the learning curve on Figma significantly, especially when you're like, I do this stupid thing. I use Figma reasonably frequently to provide comments and occasionally, do a very, very simple mock drafting. And I could see how something like this might allow me to much more quickly prototype and much more quickly. So I wonder if you're right, Darren, that, it would open up, people who are good with Figma will probably get value out of this. But I do wonder if it might not open the door to a lot more people who maybe are good with other Adobe products, but haven't spent a lot of time in Figma. I'm sorry, is Figma owned by Adobe now? I don't think so. They IPO. So like, maybe you're good with Illustrator or Photoshop or something, and you're able to kind of communicate your design ideas. You could imagine a lot of people who are designers but aren't Figma experts skipping the heavy duty Figma learning and just sort of explaining what they want,
I think
it and modifying.
I think you make an excellent point there, because it's like, because what I was saying is, like, if I try to do that, like, it's not that, like, I don't know Figma, like, I'm not a designer, like, I'm just, like, that's just not my domain, right? So like, so you're right that it's like, maybe Adobe, but you're going to so quickly learn that tool and just get more. But it's like, but I think, like, the kind of like the point is making is like, it just makes people like more proficient in using their tools. It's like it makes you,
or it opens up. I think it reduces the learning curve, and I think what you're going to find is pretty quickly, though. I mean, it's kind of fair to say that for designers, there's sort of two sets of skill. There's one set of skill that's tied to being able to design something that looks good. That's kind of the prerequisite for being a designer. But then there's another important skill, which is knowing how to use a whole bunch of software to turn your idea into something people can see. And I think that the value of the one set of skill that is turning your idea into something is going to rapidly decline with AI able to implement people's ideas. And people who maybe have good ideas of what they would like are going to be able to just talk right to the software instead of having to go through, because quite honestly, a lot of times when we hire or anybody hires someone like Anton's team, we kind of give them a bunch of hand-drawn or, you know, PowerPoints or something that somebody's comfortable saying, like, I kind of want my website to look like this. This is what I'm looking for. And then there's an enormous amount of back and forth that happens between the designer and the client or the business person trying to get their idea across. And I wonder, quite honestly, if, you know, very often the value in there is the person who's creative, right? Like it's somebody who can come up with a creative way to express, a beautiful way to express, like the ability to create something creative and beautiful. But it has to be coupled with a lot of technical capabilities to deliver that. And then there's another set, which is then you have to take all that Figma stuff and turn it into something technical, like an actual implementation of a WordPress site or a, you know, whatever, some type of HTML. And that is also, I think, declining. I do think that when you if you give an AI a very good Figma implementation of what you're looking for, its ability to code that up on a platform is also rapidly rising. And so I think the gap between a person that doesn't have a lot of technical skill being able to talk to something like Figma to work on the look and feel and experience, and then push that to a coding agent that could then implement it against, you know, a back-end system of known provenance like WordPress or something else. You can see how a non-technical person who has a pretty good understanding of what they want their website to look like and maybe has some very clear design ideas could get quite far along in the process without engaging someone who's an expert and without engaging a developer and without engaging a designer. And I wonder if that's going to replace the Wix of the world. And
because I think if you go like a Wix, if it's like a Wix or a Squarespace, then I think that makes sense because but just what I was saying is like, you know, you need someone who has core design skills to create a design. You don't need the skill in the tool anymore. But I still think you unless you don't really.
90% of people don't create designs. They grab a template, and quite honestly, those templates are all known by AI. Is like the AI is almost able to use those templates.
And I think that's kind of the downside.
Even the designers we work with. I mean, I've worked with plenty of designers. I'm like, oh, what am I looking at here? It's like, oh, it's I kind of picked up this framework off of Adobe or off of stock or something. I'm like, I kind of grabbed these things and maybe I modified them. You know, when you get into like actually creating custom elements, you're getting into a higher spend and a higher quality than, you know, where people are often prototyping at. So it's going to be interesting. I think this is like, as we build up the AI's ability to work with visuals tools like Figma and to then implement them on the back end, you know, a lot of the market is going to be solved by just AI-based design and implementation.
I think it's really fascinating when I look at, so it's like my wife is a very creative person. And so she goes and does all these things in Photoshop or Adobe tools and stuff like that. And she's not technical at all. And so she watches all these videos. And so she spends a significant amount of time just trying to figure out how to use the stupid tool. It's super frustrating for her.
So do I. I mean, I do
knows what she wants to do, but she has to figure out how to use the tool. And it's like, well, if she could just talk to, you know, because it's like, you learn these little tricks of like, oh, you create this layer and you do this on top and stuff. And it's like, well, she knows exactly what, but she just doesn't know how to do it in the tool. It's like, if she can just talk to it, it's
I mean, like, you know, my son is in college to be a designer. And I will tell you, like, an enormous amount of his classwork is learning tools. You know, he's doing theatrical lighting design and stuff, but it's still like, oh, well, there's this set of tools that you use and you have to learn all this 3D lighting modeling and all of this, you know, real depth and, you know, plots and everything. Like, it's hours and hours and hours of technical learning. And, you know, you wonder if like 3 years from now, you're just not going to need to know how to use the software. You're just going to be able to talk to the software. And the software's value will be more as a standard implementation of a framework for communicating the ideas that people have and for, putting things in the exact spots. It's very interesting though, because I think, in every profession, you start to see this erosion of the value of what is the equivalent of programming, like the way you put things into frameworks that are then portable and distributable. Anyhow, this is a great presentation, Anton. I'm really excited about what you've built. And this was a fun day, some great conversations. I want to thank everyone for joining us. Matt, thank you. Good luck with your company. Sounds very promising and really exciting. Anton, thanks for sharing all this with the world. I certainly am going to go play around with the Figma MCP. It looks awesome. So any other questions or comments before we run? Any questions from the community? All right, well, let's wrap it up. And again, we'll see you all next week. Have a great day.
Yeah, thanks
guys.
Bye.